about it day and night. I feel like a king, oh yeah. And baby, can't help but stare. Such a rush, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, guys and dolls, cats and chicks, you're listening to Viva ENT. I am Johnny the Capo, your host, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr.
Hey, it's Devin the Dude here.
Devin the Dude. Very cool. And, of course, the greatest producer in all the world, Mr.
Hey, it's Eric.
CC Rider!
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Well, I want to tell the listeners that you guys are doing the show in Bellevue, Factoria / Seattle, and I'm at Ocean Shores on my remotely joining you guys. And, of course, we got a great show for you today, ladies and gentlemen. We are featuring the hits from 1990, Part 2. And, of course, we left off at number 17 last time. But I want to go over some of the things that happened in 1990, which I don't think we got a chance to go over on Part 1.
Yeah, we'll cover some 1990 facts here.
Absolutely. Let's set the scene as we go back in time.
Back in time.
To 1990.
Well, before we want to mention the group, the Viva ENT Rock Pop and Talk Radio, Rock Pop and Soul Facebook group.
Yeah, we're getting stronger by the day. We're almost 1,200 members strong.
And yeah, it's a great community. Come join and talk about your favorite music, and it's a booming community.
Yes, too, and of course you have your YouTube channel, Devin. Tell our listeners about.
Oh yeah, Devin Creisler Studios. It's a lot of local band footage from my many adventures as the Dude, and then Viva ENT Studios. It's where the radio show is found and Johnny's music.
Yes, and also you can also find our radio shows on the group Viva ENT Talk Radio, Rock, Pop, and Soul.
Shall we go back in time 31 seconds ago? 31 years ago, 1990?
Yeah, a little bit more than 31 seconds for sure. So you guys want to start with some of the topics, or do you want to go right into the charts? What do you got going?
Well, I got some facts here. Like March 28th, the Go-Go's reunite to play a benefit concert.
That was pretty cool. The Go-Go's a very popular female band of the time, and they really made their mark in pop history, and they were great. They actually were great. There was some in 1990. There was some tragedy in 1990. For instance, Gloria Estefan was in that horrible bus accident, which messed her up pretty good for quite some time.
Yeah,
and then go ahead.
That was March 20th, like a week before that. Yeah.
And then of course, go ahead, Devin.
Oh, she's broke some bones in her back. So yeah, that was too bad.
Yeah, that was a pretty serious accident, and she's lucky to have survived that as well as she did. And then of course, Billy Idol was in a motorcycle accident.
That's too bad, but what really is sad is August 27th when Stevie Ray Vaughan is killed in a helicopter crash. He was only 35.
The guy, 35 years old, gone way too soon. And, I'm scared to death to ride in a helicopter. I probably never will. Or a small plane. So those are kind of my two things that I won't get on a small plane, and I'm not going to get in a helicopter.
Yeah, not with a storm like this. Yeah, it's stormy today.
Yeah. So that's a horrible tragedy to lose a great talent like that. He was really, really admired and respected by fans and his peers for his guitar style He was different from everybody else, and he had a great style, great voice, great guitar playing. And then with Billy Idol, it kind of messed him up from getting a break in the movies, because he was supposed to star in the movie The Doors. That I think he was supposed to get the starring role, and he didn't get it. And then he was supposed to be set up for another big film. I think it was a James Bond film, and he missed the opportunity on that too.
That's too bad.
So, yeah, that is too bad, because Billy Idol, another great talent. Any other highlights you want to talk about before we get started on the chart?
We could talk about something a little happier. Rolling Stones, Mick Jagger finally married his longtime girlfriend, Jerry Hall, November 21st.
Yeah, Mick Jagger, yeah. No kidding.
And
he was dating her for quite some time before they finally tied the knot.
Yep, and it was out in the island of Bali. So.
Very cool.
Eric, you got something about 1990 to share?
No, I was a teenager at the time, officially just a teenager. Very much plugged into music at the time, loving it. Just trying to make my way through the high school years, which, can be tough for everyone, I think. So music was a real salvation during that time. So a lot of the pop hits, I wasn't playing hardcore, but I was definitely well aware of them, because, when we're talking about the number ones of the year, these songs, whether you liked them or not, you were going to hear them, whether, when you went to the store, they'd be playing over the sound system. You turn on TV, MTV would be playing all these in heavy rotation. So you couldn't escape this stuff. And so sometimes it was like, I really don't like that. But then years later, you can hear something again and go, that wasn't so bad. I kind of like that song now, It's just
when you're a teenager, it's a little different from, maybe 10, 15 years later, and your music taste may change along the way.
Absolutely.
You have any favorite albums of that time? Or?
Oh, yeah, so many. I think the Electronic, the first album with Johnny Marr from the Smiths, the guitar player, and Bernard Sumner from New Order, the singer from New Order, did a collaboration called Electronic. They released their debut album. That was on heavy rotation for me that year for sure. Loved it.
Nice.
Cool. Very cool.
Well, shall we continue with 1990 Part 2 with number 17, Close to You by Maxi Priest?
I'm not real familiar with that. I'd have to hear a little snippet of it if Eric's got it ready to go.
It's going.
Yeah.
Now, Maxi Priest, he really made his career by doing pop standards, but kind of updating them with a R&B reggae kind of feel.
Uh-huh.
Living a life like a backstreet dream, telling the lies when the truth was clear. I think she knew what I wanted to hear. Spin them around like a wheel on fire, walking on tightrope and love.
And I got to admit, this was a number one song in 1990, but I don't remember it at all. At the beginning, I don't remember, but as soon as that chorus kicks in, absolutely remember it now.
Yeah, me too. I'm the same boat. I didn't recognize it until the chorus kicked in.
And this was featured in the film Sleeping with the Enemy, if you've seen that one.
Ah, that's right.
Oh.
Yeah, no, his first big hit in the U.S. was in 1988 when he did a cover of Wild World.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which went to number 25 back in 1988, but in his native UK went all the way up to number 5. And then he was off and running with big hits in the UK after that. But this one actually did better in the U.S. than it did in the UK.
Wow, cool. Sometimes that's the way it happens. A lot of times the UK artists that finally break out and get to the United States have more success in the U.S. Than in the UK sometimes. A good example is the Beatles.
Yep.
And this is made number 2 in Australia too, so it's popular
Very
there.
cool. Yeah, it was a catchy little hit, especially when it got to the bridge. Otherwise, I'm with Eric. I didn't recognize it until it got there.
Well, you might recognize this one, number 18, Black Velvet, Alana Miles.
Yeah, are you familiar with this song, Eric? I got a whole story on it, for sure.
Absolutely. This is one at the time I honestly wasn't familiar with, but years later I heard it and I thought, that's a great song. And, I kind of wonder why Alana Miles wasn't more popular than she was, because this song, first of all, went to number 1 in the U.S. It only went to number 7 in her native Canada. But then she scored a bunch of hits in Canada, but just no success in the U.S. after that. But, I mean, a gorgeous woman, a gorgeous voice, a great song. So I'm really surprised that this was kind of the last we heard of her in the U.S. But, this song still continued to be played in as a recurrent on many pop stations and actually a whole bunch of different formats. Because it's kind of got a country-ish kind of vibe too.
Yeah, it's got a nice bass line in it. So I'm kind of taking it that you're not familiar with the fact that this song, the lyrics are about Elvis Presley.
No, I never would have got that. But Devin mentioned it before the show, so tell us more.
Yeah, if you can pull up the lyrics real quick, you can see that. Matter of fact, I should have done it before the show. But the song is written about the black velvet shirt that Elvis Presley's mother made for Elvis when he appeared at the Tupelo State Fair in 1957. It could have been 1956, but once you pull up the lyrics. Matter of fact, I could probably even do that right now. It's clear that the song is about Elvis Presley.
Yeah, Mississippi in the middle of a dry spell. Jimmy Rogers on the Victrola up high. Mama's dancing with a baby on her shoulder. The sun is setting like molasses in the sky. The boy could sing, knew how to move, everything, always wanting more. He'd leave you longing for black velvet and that little boy smile. Black velvet with that slow southern style. New religion that'll bring you to your knees. Black velvet, if you please. And it goes on. Up in Memphis, the music's like a heat wave. So, yeah, I think you're onto something.
Yeah, and then it says, love me tender, if you go on a little bit more.
Leaves them crying in the aisle, yeah.
And this
love
would
me tender.
be a great song when you're in Memphis to listen to.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, speaking about Elvis, which was one of my favorite subjects, I am going to be in Graceland as early as next Wednesday, possibly Tuesday. So I'm looking forward to my trip, and of course we're gonna do a show from Graceland, Viva ENT Talk Radio, Rock, Pop, and Soul. Listeners, stay tuned for sure.
It's just around the corner. Yeah,
it's surprising that a lot of people don't realize that song was intentionally, the lyrics were intentionally written about the king of rock and roll.
And he was inspired from a bus full of Elvis fans riding to Memphis, attending the 10th anniversary vigil in Graceland in 1987. So upon his return to Canada, he brought his ideas and they collaborated and made that song. And it won the 1991 Grammy for Best Female Rock Vocal Performance and the 1990 Juno Award for Single of the Year.
Yeah, and, she was born Alana Biles, but changed it to Alana Miles for rock and roll purposes, I guess.
I think Miles is better than Biles, for sure.
I agree. I think she made the right call on that.
That's catchy.
Right. Well, spelled the same except for the B or the M.
Yeah, for sure.
And this has over 4 million radio plays, so...
Yeah, it was a huge hit, and you hear people sing it in karaoke all the time.
Yeah, and for such a big hit, really no follow-up success in the U.S., but in her native Canada, she was originally from Ontario, boy, she scored tons of follow-up hits. So I guess...
And you're right, she was strikingly good-looking.
Absolutely, and when you got that kind of success at home, I guess you don't gamble with, trying to be successful in other countries. You just enjoy your success at home.
And,
yeah, she probably was so big that she didn't even realize that maybe she wasn't scoring hits in the U.S.
This was also covered by Robin Lee and a few other artists. So,
yeah, right on.
you should play it
Well,
sometime.
moving on to number 19.
Release Me, Wilson Phillips back on the charts.
Big year for Wilson Phillips, and of course they were related to pop stars Brian Wilson and Michelle Phillips, I believe.
That's right. Yeah, we covered that on the last show. But, I got to say, I remember Hold On being a big smash, but this one I don't remember quite as well, but it must have been very big.
Do you have it up by any chance?
Yep.
How many times have I tried to turn this love around? I don't want to give up, but baby, it's time I had 2 feet on the ground. Can you release me? Can you release me?
It's not
This
showing much with me.
was same. But I'm sure during the concerts, this was the moment where the fans, held up their lighters in the air and swayed them slowly.
Yeah, they had a huge year in 1990, and I'm surprised that I'm not really familiar with this song.
Likewise, yeah, because this would have been a really big hit. But again, not jogging any memories this time around for me.
Yeah,
And I was pretty much on top of the charts at the time when I was in Vegas playing the lounge circuit with my band, and I definitely paid attention to what was on the radio because that's pretty much what I was featuring.
Spent 2 weeks at number 1 back in September of 1990.
Incredible.
and topped the Hot Adult Contemporary chart for a week, and made number 1 in Canada.
Right on. Well, the next song, number 20, I do. It was a smash hit, and surprised it's not higher on the charts as far as the top 100 goes. But the number 20 song, "Don't Know Much," and Linda Ronstadt and Aaron Neville was a huge hit.
Absolutely.
A lot of radio play. I remember this for sure. If you can play a little bit of that, Eric, that would be cool, so our listeners can get reunited with this one.
Yeah.
I don't know much, but I know how to love you.
Of course.
Aaron Neville vibrato.
Yeah, Aaron Neville, one of the Neville brothers, who, the Neville brothers didn't score a lot of big hits, but they had a huge following and were very popular. And, of course, this had been a little while since Linda Ronstadt had scored a hit, so them teaming up was really kind of a dream team.
They made a
Linda seemed to just pop up, throughout the decades, here, there, and everywhere, just to showing what a talent she was and what a great sense she had for what she wanted to do musically.
Yeah, this was a cover of a Barry Mann song, who scored a minor hit of it, version of it in 1980.
And Bette Midler also did a version too.
Oh, very cool.
What Aaron Neville always struck me. It was interesting that he had this very kind of high-pitched, very kind of soft, almost feminine voice. But the guy he kind of looked like a football player. Really.
Big guy.
Yeah.
Kind of I won't say he was a little rough looking. He's kind of ruggedly handsome type of guy.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I mean, famously has a birthmark above one of his eyebrows, and he's a bigger gentleman, and he's got a tattoo on his face. So he looked like kind of a big tough guy, but then he'd sing. And he had this like kind of, soft as marshmallow voice. So it was a really interesting, striking kind of combination. And I used to joke that the guy from Dead or Alive, Pete Burns, and Aaron Neville had somehow accidentally switched voices because Pete Burns from Dead or Alive was a very feminine man, but had this really deep baritone voice. And then Aaron Neville was the opposite of that. Very masculine, but very, soft voice.
Like Freaky Friday.
Well, for our listeners that may not remember, Aaron Neville scored the big hit to Tell It Like It Is.
That's right. Yes, that was a big hit for him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this is off a triple platinum album, Cry Like a Rainstorm, Howl Like the Wind. Kind of like what's going on. A good album for the storm that's hitting us.
Yeah, you're storming and I'm storming. I'm 150 miles from you.
Big storm.
Indeed. Now the next song, number 21, I have to listen to that one too. Jeez.
All Around the World, Lisa Stansfield.
I do.
Yeah.
I definitely remember this one.
All right, let's hear it.
But I'll find him somewhere, somehow. I've got to let him know how much I care. I'll never give up looking for my baby. Been around the world and I can't find my baby. I don't know when
A lot of radio play. Kind of a cool song. Kind of a really good listening song. And
So, from 1989. Definitely,
Yeah, she was from Manchester, England, and scored a number of hits in the UK, but not so much in the US after this song. But this song really was a big hit at the time. I remember it being played all the time. And, of course, Lisa was a beautiful woman and had a very distinctive haircut with a spit curl up front that gave her a very striking look.
yes, indeed.
and this is off her debut album, Affection. And,
Very cool.
She was nominated for the Grammy Award for Best New Artist, and also for Best Female Pop Vocal Performance.
Cool. Very cool. Wow, what a great tag. Yeah, the chorus is just really solid. It's a great song.
Yeah, the string arrangement definitely reminiscent of Soul to Soul's Back to Life. Soul to Soul around this time also scored a bunch of hits. And
Nice.
that sound was just really huge in the UK. That dance beat with the strings.
It was kind of a familiar type sound of 1990, I think.
Absolutely.
The new era, the music is changing at this time.
Yeah, music was changing, for sure.
Yeah, and, we're only, a few months away from grunge just blowing everything up. So it's interesting to hear, what was, just the year before, dominating the charts. Nothing, so far we haven't heard, really any rock hits in the top 100. So, and just the following year, it was like everything changed.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a very good point, and I hear you loud and clear.
I mean, Billy Idol's Cradle of Love would have been the closest in the top 20 for the year,
right.
For big rock hits, and that was.
I like Cradle of Love, as I said on the last show. I don't know why, but kind of I really liked it. To me, it was real catchy.
Absolutely, very catchy.
I like Rome, B-52's on this list, and Janie's Got a Gun, but it's down in 61. Free Fallin', that's a good rock song, or Tom Petty in 64.
Yeah, kind of a softer rock type song.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wasn't quite the great song, but not quite the rock type edgy type sound.
Wasn't like Running Down a Dream.
Right.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Petty Fever.
I love that song.
Yeah. It's great that At the Hop made the charts from Johnny Madera, number 97, as a part of Swing the Mood.
Yeah.
Jive Bunny and the Master Mixers. There's a whole bunch of songs, including At the Hop.
Oh, yeah.
I think Jailhouse Rock is in that too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Jive Bunny. That was an interesting thing. It was a kind of a cartoon character that they marketed as being the musician, even though clearly it was people. But the whole song was just them taking old hits and mashing them together, kind of like the Stars on 45 stuff that was big in the 70s. This was, but this was taking the actual recordings rather than just covering those, and just kind of mashed them together with a dance beat, and was very big. I mean, especially in the UK. But had some success here in the U.S. as well. But our next tune, Calloway, I Want to Be Rich.
Yeah, this song I'm quite familiar with. It was all over the radio waves, and it was a catchy little tune.
Yeah, this one has lived on, in TV and commercials and movies and stuff, a lot more than you might have expected, but...
That's the band's only number 10 hit in the U.S. to make the top 10.
R&B duo from Cincinnati, Ohio, Couple Brothers.
And this reached number 2 in May 1990, but it was blocked by Shane O'Connor's Nothing Compares to You. So.
Yeah, that was a huge hit.
Yeah.
I Want to Be Rich was all over the place, and it was a clever little catchy song, and the DJ seemed to embrace it. And as far as I remember from 1990, it was on the radio all the time.
Yeah, number 2 on the pop charts back in 1990.
And Calloway, not to be confused with Cab Calloway.
Right.
No.
But it was the Calloway brothers, Reginald and Vincent, that were the main members of this group.
Very cool. Very cool.
And it really, it definitely is of its time. I mean, you can hear, that keyboard sound you wouldn't really hear beyond, let's say, 1991. But in the 89 and 90, this was all over the charts, all over the airwaves.
Could have been in Back to the Future 3. I mean,
it could have if they hadn't gone back in time to the Old West.
Where they had classical music.
Yes.
And country, maybe. Well, number 23 is Rub You the White Ray, Johnny Gill.
Yeah, let's listen to that.
You can hear that Belle Biv DeVoe kind of beat behind this. Like all R&B at the time had that beat.
Yeah, I think that bass sound was called Val bass, I think. It was a, sample type sound.
It's cutting edge.
It was at the time, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was called Val bass back in the day.
And he was a member of New Edition, of course. So speaking of Belle Biv DeVoe, who also had their roots in New Edition, along with Bobby Brown. So that was the 5 members of New Edition, just all went on to pop success.
That's surprising that all of them did score some success.
This is some New Jack Swing, they say.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, New Jack Swing was the kind of term that was being thrown around quite a bit at the time that covered artists like, Johnny Gill, Bobby Brown, and Belle Biv DeVoe, and Color Me Bad, and stuff like that.
And this is
it was a good sound.
It's from Motown label, their debut album.
Well, speaking of Bobby Brown, he's on our next hit, number 24. She Ain't Worth It, but we got to take a quick break, so we'll get right into that as we come back from the break. Everybody.
Marvelous. You're listening to Viva ENT, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned.
Awesome.
For your pleasure, I'm on over here.
us part of your daily routine. Alternative Talk 1150.
Take her where she wants to go. Every day you let her know. She's the one who's always.
All right, we're back on Viva ENT, and we're talking about the top hits of 1990. Guys, why don't you reset the show here, and then we'll talk about what we're playing right now.
Cool.
Yeah, we've got Johnny the Capo on the line, and I'm Devin the Dude, and we got a producer, Eric C.C. Reidar, in the studio.
That's right. And we're all the way down to number 24 of the top 100 hits of 1990. This one, She Ain't Worth It. It's Glenn Medeiros. I don't think I've ever heard this guy's name said out loud.
Medeiros.
That's right.
I'm guessing.
I'm guessing too. So
you got to go
you're
with
probably
syllables
closer than
when
me.
you get names like that. Medeiros.
And this
Medeiros.
featured Bobby Brown, so kind of a duet between the two.
Yeah.
And it's got that New Jack Swing kind of beat for sure.
And this was number one for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's not really ringing a bell with me, too. It's weird that these songs in 1990 are not.
Yeah, honestly, I don't remember this at all, but I think at the time you put Bobby Brown's name on anything and you would have scored, a top 40 hit.
Yeah, he was too bad a lot of things with Bobby Brown because he did have the talent and he was a good entertainer, and I watched him on a Grammy Award show one time and he blew me away.
I think Glenn Medeiros. I don't know how his name is pronounced, so my apologies to Glenn. But
I'm guessing Medeiros.
Yeah, he was one of the few artists to come out of Hawaii and have national success. And then after his music career peaked, he actually went back to Hawaii, and he was he was a vice principal of a school in Honolulu, Hawaii, and then he became a professor at a university. So he's had a really interesting career. A lot of guys just try and continue in the music career and, keep throwing stuff at the wall until something hits or doesn't. But he saw the writing on the wall, I guess, and decided to go into education instead.
What a pivot.
Well, the thing is, the music path doesn't always bring in a steady paycheck.
That's true.
Right? Gigs come and go.
Exactly.
But if wishes came true.
Yeah.
Most of the musicians that I knew in Vegas that were pretty secure were married to a school teacher or something. I hate to say it, but it's true.
Yeah. Yeah, to have a two-income family, I think, to make those early days in a music career work.
Got to have something steady, yeah. Well, if wishes came true by Sweet Sensation, that's our next song.
Another one that doesn't ring my bell. I'm starting to feel kind of weird here.
Yeah, same. It's like, was there a parallel universe that I fell into in 1990? Exactly. Or I didn't hear any of the top hits?
Yeah. We got that one going?
Yeah. I remember the name Sweet Sensation, but so far I don't remember this song at all. They were a freestyle dance music trio from the Bronx. So it's interesting that their big hit song was more of a ballad than a dance song.
And they're playing with a flamenco guitar on this. And...
Yeah, sorry to say that I don't. It doesn't ring a bell with me. Number 26. That means it was a huge hit.
25. Yeah.
Yeah, number 25. It was a huge hit. Huge.
And the music video is filmed in New York City.
Well, being from the Bronx, that would make a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, from their album Love Child, but I don't recall these ladies bothering the charts anymore after this song.
I don't hear this on the radio stations I listen to mostly. So.
Yeah, in fact, this was their first and only number one hit. After this, they had a number 59 from the same album called Each and Every Time. But boy, it's almost as if this has been wiped from the collective memory of America, because I don't remember this at all, and so I don't think this has been played on the radio much since then either.
Maybe in New Zealand it was big there.
Oh, well, maybe. you never know.
I'll have to visit.
And then the number 26 song is the same. I don't remember the name of the group and.
Oh, you'll remember this one.
Oh, absolutely. Now, this one, we talk about, Sweet Sensations song kind of disappearing. This one lived on like a few others. Snap, The Power. And I think you're definitely going to remember this, Johnny, once you hear it.
Okay. I'm all for it.
It's got kind of a spoken word intro that will jump to the music, though. So
this is in movies. Yeah.
Oh.
German dance act. And it was around this time where all dance music and really most pop and R&B had to feature a rap break in it. And they would, kind of make pop groups like CNC Music Factory, where they would get a rapper and a diva vocalist to, to pair together and score some big hits.
Keep it fresh.
Yeah. And, of course, Snap scored The Power, which is what we're listening to, and Rhythm is a Dancer was another big hit for them.
Oh, yeah. So that was a rap diva type thing.
Absolutely. And it's that I've got the power hook that has lived on like nothing else and made this song so successful over the years.
That's correct. There's no question about that.
And number one in Greece, Netherlands, Spain, Switzerland, UK, Zimbabwe. But number two behind Vision of Love by Mariah Carey in the U.S.
I remember this being featured in the discotheques quite a bit.
Nothing sounds quite like it.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of Euro disco groups that were, kind of breaking through internationally at that time, like Technotronic and Snap. Big hits, but, weren't necessarily well known to Americans except for hearing, that stuff on the radio.
Yeah.
For sure.
Over 8 million views on YouTube, so, yeah, it's popular.
All right. I think we kind of referenced when we were talking about Wilson Phillips how, the offspring of successful music artists can, sometimes make a splash early on, but then kind of disappear. And there's few examples of, the offspring of successful artists, having lengthy careers. And another example of that is Nelson, number 27. Can't Live Without Your Love and Affection. Now, this, of course, the sons of Ricky Nelson, Matthew and Gunnar Nelson. And
the two boys, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they both had long blonde hair, so they kind of stuck out and had their own look. And they released a very successful debut album called After the Rain, and this was the big hit from it.
Yeah, they were on MTV a lot with that video, and their long blonde hair, and they were a big splash, and I'm surprised that they didn't go further.
Yeah, and they released several albums, but only their first two did well, and especially the first album, the debut, After the Rain, went double platinum. So it was a massive success, but the follow-up records just diminishing returns. But, it's just another case, successful artists has children that go, hey, I can do that. Then they do, and they do all right, like Wilson Phillips, but then kind of fade out.
Make a splash, and then...
Yeah.
Yeah, very few artists, that's what I was talking about Linda Ronstadt earlier, very few artists, last from decade to decade to decade, and most artists, if they have 2 or 3 hits, that's really a big thing.
And well, this one was special. Ricky Nelson, the only family to have 3 generations of popular number 1 singles.
Yeah,
because there's the Nelson family, and then
that's
Nelson.
right. He was the offspring of successful musicians.
So like a century of music coming from.
You talking about Ozzie Nelson?
Ricky Nelson's father. Or?
Yeah, Ozzie Nelson. He was the band leader and pretty much directed and produced most of Ricky Nelson's sessions.
Yeah, and Ricky Nelson kind of had a similar career too, because he started off very successful and then kind of disappeared from the charts, and later came back, had another hit, and became kind of a legacy artist. But there was a big gap there in success. So there's still a chance for the Nelson brothers to come back with a hit. You never know.
Yep.
Yeah, Ricky really had a phenomenal success from about 1959 to about 1963. At one time, he was probably second only to Elvis as far as record sales, and he was huge. He was a big teen idol, being featured on TV every week.
Yeah.
And he really was a big star. And he really tried to change his image, and he tried to get away from the teen idol thing in the late 60s and early 70s. He scored a Garden Party in 72.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he tragically left us in that airplane crash. But he was on his way to make a comeback, and he was running around with guys like the Eagles, Randy Meisner, and guys like that. Some of those fellas were members of his band called the Stone Canyon Band. And Ricky Nelson had recorded a song by Bob Dylan, which was a minor hit for him. But he was definitely trying to shake the teen idol thing. So I think had Ricky Nelson lived, I think he would have made a comeback.
And he might be playing with the Eagles November 5th and 6th at the Climate Pledge Arena, which is coming up.
Who's that now?
Eagles are playing there next week.
Yeah.
And then Evanescence after that, which I got tickets for. And Eric Church is there October 30th, and Andrea Botticelli November 3rd.
Wow.
Very cool.
Quite a variety of artists.
It's coming back, fellas. It's coming back.
Yeah, the Climate Pledge Arena really ties the city together. It's
it looks great. I haven't seen it since it reopened, but I'm very happy that live music is coming back to the Seattle scene and all over the country. I was very lucky this year to score as many gigs as I did, being down here in Ocean Shores. It's a summer resort type place, and I was playing almost every single weekend.
Yeah, you're gigging like 2-3 times a week.
Yeah, it was pretty nice.
Right? I'm trying to see 100 shows this year, which I think I will. I'm seeing 3-4 shows a week. So.
Wow.
Yeah, you're back in action. That's good.
Yep. I got to work the Hitman last weekend, but next weekend, on the 30th, Jurassic Down, Lewd and Crude, Noise Pollution, AC/DC tribute band are playing at the Everett Historic Theater. So.
Very cool.
Come check it out.
Very, very cool. How much time we got left, Eric?
We have got about 5 minutes left here.
Well, good. In that case, we're leaving off with number 27 by the Nelsons. I think maybe might consider to do 1990 Part 3. But next week, we are going to be doing a show, and I'm going to be on the grounds of Graceland. And we're going to feature a couple of shows about the King, and I'm real excited. I've never been to Graceland. Everybody knows how huge of an Elvis Presley fan I am, and I'm really excited about it. And I'll keep you guys posted and let you know what's happening.
I'm excited for you. Yeah, this is going to be great.
Yeah, and Devin, you got anything to tell our listeners before we?
Well, it got a couple more show announcements. Like Coup Contre Coup was playing at the Tractor Tavern on Halloween, and there's a Boo. I'm going to at WAMU. It's an electronic dance music festival, including artists like Cascade, which is at WAMU Theater on the Friday, tomorrow, and we've barely even scratched the surface on 1990. So I think we should do a part 3.
I think we have to as well. Do we have time to get into Taylor Dane, Eric?
Yeah, I think we do. We've got a couple minutes left here. So, let's play a little bit of Love Will Lead You Back by Leslie Wonderman, or as other folks may know her, by her stage name, Taylor Dane. Of course, New York singer, songwriter, and actress, and her big breakthrough was in 1987, her debut single, Tell It to My Heart, which was a massive hit. But this was a big follow-up for her, and Prove Your Love and I'll Always Love You were other big hits for her, too. And she's still going strong, touring to this day.
You said that her big hit was featured in 1987.
That's right. Tell It to My Heart. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a huge hit. And in the late 80s, the early 90s, there was a thing going on where artists like Taylor Dane and others were appearing in shopping centers. And so, for instance, I remember in Vegas at the Fashion Show Mall, they had Taylor Dane. She'd show up and sing to tracks, and they were quite successful.
That's right. Tiffany famously got her start touring shopping malls. Yeah, and I think Debbie Gibson spent some time doing the same thing.
Right. So it was a big thing at the time, and I remember seeing Taylor Dane in a small nightclub in Vegas, and right in the beginning of her success, and that little formula kind of faded out. But a lot of artists did really well with showing up to the gig and singing to a track, And
attracting customers. Yeah, they'll bring people.
Yeah, it worked. I seen her at a small venue in Vegas, and I was quite impressed with her talent.
Yeah, Can't Fight Fate. That was her album. The song was off. The second single on it.
Well, I think we got to leave folks with the number 29 hit for the year, which was "Don't Want to Fall in Love" by Jane Child, and I do remember this song, but mostly I remember the video because Jane Child was a very striking looking singer. She had a very interesting haircut, which was cornrows on a white woman, and they were all the top were all spiked straight up, and then she had one braid that went through a nose ring. So she was a very interesting looking singer for sure. But that, for such an avant-garde haircut, her music was just very straightforward pop music.
Quite a look.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to have to look her up.
Yeah, looking at her, you would think maybe this is going to be, like a punk rock kind of thing. But nope. When you hear the record, it's very straight up pop music.
It's amazing how many songs are on the charts that are lower in the lower, in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s that I remember much better than some of these songs that are cropping up in the top 40.
Yeah, same. Well, unfortunately, we're out of time, but I'm so looking forward to hearing you come to us live from Graceland.
It's going to be a big thing. And ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Viva ENT. Thanks to my great crew, Devin the Dude and Eric C.C. Ryder. We'll dig you now and see you later because you are a fine, sweet potato. Thank you so much.
Have a great evening, everyone.